Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela and we are the Castors.
Parang this was a super sa dami nangyayari sa mundo. Parang napaka-long ng weekend.
Talaga ba?
Parang feeling
akala
ko-
ko nga weekend. Tapos,
Parang feeling ko isang
dito
ling-
lang tayo ng Friday, nag-goodbye, tapos ngayon Monday na.
The feeling ko parang isang linggo tayong naka-weekend.
Talaga ba?
Na-miss ko siguro mag-work.
That's
Hoy,
good.
happy Monday morning. Pero sa mga taga Batangas, stay safe po kasi
Batangas at saka Muntinlupa.
Cavite.
Oo.
Kasi apparently, di ba, yung Taal Volcano, dumudura daw ng asupre. Bumubuga ng asupre. So
Volcanic
medyo
smog.
Oo, and there are reports but unverified na even as far as Quezon City,
May mga smog
may
na.
smog. But we don't know
oo.
if it's smog from the volcano or just simple pollution. But we will rest assured dito po sa himpilan ng One News,
Oo, wala pa.
aalamin namin ang kwento.
Pero yun nga, alamin po ninyo kasi may mga several areas na po dyan sa
Nagde-declare.
Batangas, nag-declare na ng walang
Kanina umaga pa.
sa Muntinlupa
Oo.
dahil nga dun sa smog. Dahil yung iba, mag-online na lang muna sila para nga makaiwas. Dahil masama naman makalanghap nito
Yes.
Yung
Correct.
sulfur dioxide na masama sa lungs natin yan. Pero yung mga nakababasa ko sa internet ngayon, sa social media, sabi nila, ano ba to? May pattern na naman ba?
Anyway, pag-usapan natin mamaya yan. Madaming pa tayong pag-uusapan. We're serving you news in a countdown.
All that before your second cup of coffee. This is brunch.
Starting our countdown with two-time Olympic gold medalist Carlos Yulo, the gymnast thanks Signal TV chairman and sports patron Manny V. Pangilinan for helping him prepare for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Yulo said MVP provided assistance during his training in the Philippines and in Japan. He also commended Signal TV's One Sports for its extensive coverage of our athletes competing in the Paris Olympics.
MVP. Maraming salamat po. Grabe yung supporta niya. Siya yung tumulong sa akin makapunta ng Japan din po. And nakapagtayo po ng gym sa Intramuros. And syempre sa One Sport and sa Signal po na in-air po yung mga training camps namin, yung insight ng trainings and commentating sa mga laro po namin and maipakita sa buong mundo po na yung mga atletang Pilipino.
Signal TV President and CEO Jane Jimenez Basas expressed pride in bringing the Paris Olympics to the Filipinos. Basas said they will continue to foster a sense of national pride through sports. Signal TV was the official broadcaster of the Paris Olympics.
Oh, 'di ba? Ang dami nga pag mga may nakakausap ako, sabi nila, ang galing naman ng One Sport.
Actually,
sabi,
'di ba?
Kasi they were able to watch yung mga gusto nilang panoorin, especially tayo,
Actually,
yung mga
I was telling you,
atleta natin.
ever since I've been watching the Olympics on TV, tagal na, di ba? But ang difference was kasi noon, talagang hindi mo alam kung saan mo mapanoorin yung certain sport na gusto mo or kung kailan nalabang ang Pilipinas. Talagang hahantayin mo lahat ng events, mag-run through because the coverage was not streamlined before. Naka-rekta lang sa Olympics mismo. But this time around, napakadali. If you wanted to watch AJ Obiena, nandun. If you wanted to watch si Carlos Yulo, nandun. Boxing natin, maganda ang latag ng schedule. Di ba? Kasi sa Signal Play app pa, di ba?
Ang daming avenue para mapanood yung One Sports.
Napadali ng One Sports ang way of watching the Olympics to a point na ang daming hindi nakakaranas ng panonood ng Olympics before that are very interested in the Olympic game.
Kasi grabe yung views
Grabe yung views saka yung popularity ng Olympians natin now.
Yes.
Even more than before. Nagsimula yun with Hidilyn Hidilyn Diaz because of her
Tapos
goal.
ang ganda pa dahil di ba nagkaroon tayo ng opportunity na ma-cover yung mga atleta natin 1 month prior to the Olympics dahil yung sa training nila.
Pre-competition
So mas nakilala natin sila, mas naintindihan natin yung ginagawa nila.
Yeah.
And yun nga, naabangan din natin yung opening mismo ng Paris Olympics. Dun sa sinasabi nga ni Carlos Yulo, nagpapasalamat siya kay MVP dun dun sa pagtulong sa kanya. And we also heard that from yung presidente ng Gymnastic Association of the Philippines,
Yeah,
naalala mo,
forget her name, yeah.
si Miss Cynthia
Yun.
Carion,
Oo.
na sinabi niya na, give me the money, sabi niya, diba, para dito nga kay Carlos Yul, dahil one day he will win the gold.
And si Boss MVP naman has been a known supporter of Philippine sports for the longest time, even quietly
Yes.
helping out. Madami pa siyang natutulungan na hindi alam ng public sa mga sports athletes natin.
Exactly. Sige, usapang sports pa rin tayo. Shooting at the 9th spot is the opening of PBA Governors Cup Season 49. Meralco Bolts escaped Magnolia Hotshots and nabbed the first victory in the Governors Cup. Magnolia's Glenn Robinson III attempted a game-winning shot in the final seconds, but his 4-point attempt missed the mark. Meralco's returning import Alan Durmam sealed the win with a pair of free throws before the game ended. The final score 99-94. The Philippine Cup champion continues their winning streak, with Durham leading them with 20 points and 16 rebounds. Durham pala.
Yun, nakita yung ano.
Yun na, ginawa na nila, na-launch na dito yung 4-point.
The 4-point line.
Oo.
I don't know, medyo hati ako dyan sa 4-point line eh.
Oo.
Well, it brings more excitement locally. Definitely. Because yung scoring tataas, yung spacing sa floor tataas. But, ang problem is international competition and the NBA.
Wala namang ganun eh, no?
Walang ganun. So, kung masanay ang athletes natin, ang PBA players natin sa 4-point line, which adds a little more score, if we are exposed to international teams at walang 4-point line, mag-iiba ang spacing ng floor. So, therefore, mag-iiba ang takbo, maninibago ang athletes natin. Kasi ngayon, ang depensa, nag-extend all the way to the 4-point line. Dati yung defense nagsasag from the 3 onwards eh. Diba? Ngayon, hahaba ang defense mo all the way out. But international competition, up to the 25-foot line lang ang defense eh. Ngayon, mag-extend ka
So,
further
paano
out.
yun yung, di ba minsan may napapanood ako ng mga, kunyari, buzzer beater na mga shots na malayo, yun yung magiging 4 points din.
May line sila.
may line.
Oo. At saka yung Olympians daw natin, pinapaalala kasi nila.
Oo.
They were, guests sa PBA.
Yes.
Oo,
Si ano pa nga what's her name? Si favorite natin, si Nesty Petesio.
Si
Siya yung
parang Nesty.
sa jump ball, tawang-tawa ko kasi bago siya mag-jump ball,
Oh.
nag-selfie na naman siya with them.
Pina-A
Tapos
ba niya?
nag-A na naman yung iba kasi siya hawak niya yung bola. So hindi siya nakapag-A.
Si Nesty, although matagal nang sikat yung A, pinasikat ni Nesty
Ano yan?
lalo eh. Ito
Si Johnny Delgaco, nakita natin. So, a lot of our
Sino yung katabi ni
Olympians
Johnny?
ang
Siya
nag-guest.
yung judo ba? Aikido? Ayan, Aikido.
Oo.
Si Aikido yan,
Yes. Tapos,
Watanabe.
Oo. So, nandyan sila during the opening. Tapos yun nga, mabalik lang ako dun kay Nesty Petesio. Tapos meron pa siyang joke kasi parang hindi pa siya tapos, sana mapakita natin, hindi pa siya tapos, di ba, pagka...
Jump ball.
Jump ball, ihagis ang ganun yung bola. Para nag-attempt lang siya, tapos parang tumalo na yung isang player. Tapos niloko niya, baboxingin na lang niya. It's so cute. So, right now, we are seeing Ira Villegas, di ba?
Oo. And nalinigyan ng medal ni Alfrancis Chua.
Of course, handing over the award also, no?
Yeah, oo. Si Nesty,
Yan, si Nesty A. Nesty A.
Talagang tugma yung kwento ng mga ibang Olympians about Nesty na siya daw yung makulit daw sa kanila daw talaga.
Pag mapakita nila yung jump ball na scene, talagang nakakatawa.
Ayan, pero hanapin nila yan. I'm sure it's online. May mga cut-up yan.
Oo.
Ayan.
Tapos isa sa mga naging news din ng, I forgot na kung anong team yon si Alea Finnegan, anong team niya na naging muse siya. Ganda-ganda din niya, umuwi siya dito to be one of the muses, one of the teams dyan sa opening ng Governors Cup ng PBA. So,
Ayan.
congratulations! At syempre, ilang buwan ito nating aabangan kung sino naman
And good luck sa PBA.
champion.
Good luck sa PBA sa 4-point line. Let's see what happens, but let's move on. Coming in, our 8th spot is about the COMELEC's preparations for the 2025 midterm elections. The Commission on Elections aims to announce the winning senatorial candidates within 4 days. According to COMELEC Chairman George Garcia, This is a quicker process compared to the previous elections where counting took up to 2 weeks. One reason for the delay is waiting for votes from Filipinos abroad, which must be processed in 95 foreign service posts before being sent back to the Philippines. Garcia also urged the public to register to vote before the deadline on September 30. Registration is open Monday to Saturday, including holidays, at all election offices nationwide from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
All right, let's discuss that further.
We have with us Comelec spokesperson John Rex Laudianco on the show. Magandang umaga,
Via
Spokes.
Zoom.
Magandang umaga po, Ma'am Angela, Sir Angelo, at sa lahat po ng taga-subaybay ng branch. Good morning.
Alright, Spokes, let's get right to it. Gaano po ka-feasible yung sinasabi natin 4 days na may results na?
Tama po yan, ano? Inaasahan nga po sa loob ng 4 o 5 araw, matatapos na natin ang eleksyon ng Senado kasi ang COMELEC naman din po ang siyang magiging National Canvassing Board for Senators at Party List. Hindi po katulad nung nakaraang presidential elections, ang canvassing board po kasi sa President at Vice President ay ang ating Kongreso, Joint Houses of Congress. Ngayon po, dahil gagamit na rin po tayo ng internet voting sa 75 posts, out of the 95 posts po natin sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, may transmission na rin po ng results. Hindi na po namin hihintayin, bagamat dadalhin yung printout ng mga canvassing po nila, pwede na po namin gamitin as official canvassing proclamation results, yung po manggagaling po sa post na yan. So internet voting sa ibang bansa, automated counting machine sa Pilipinas, lahat transmitted, asahan po natin ang mas mabilis sa proklamasyon ng mga senador.
So para klaro lang, Spokes, are you saying that lahat ng positions will be fully counted within 4 days?
Tama po kayo dahil ang pinakamalaki po ay yung Senator at Party List National. Kung yung national nga po ay inaasahan po natin within 4 or 5 days, siguro dagdagan po na ng konti para lang may allowance, maaring 6 days kasama na yung sa abroad, mas lalo pong mas mabilis yung ating mga nasa local government positions. Dahil yung pong munisipyo lamang yan, city or provincial, ang ika-canvassing. Sa amin po sa national, galing po sa lahat mula munisipyo at higit sa lahat galing sa ibang bansa.
Oo, syempre, for the sake of fairness po, ang kababayan po natin ay syempre iniisip po nila how can we make sure na maging maayos po at walang dayaan na mangyayari na hindi po maaring madaya itong mga resulta na ito kung ganito po kabilis.
Naku ma'am, napakagandang tanong. Una po sa lahat kasi dito muna tayo sa Pilipinas. Yung ating automated counting machine ma'am, may 3 layers ng audit sa presinto pa lamang. Muna, pag boto mo ipapakita doon sa screen, paano binasa at binilang yung boto mo. So ikaw na botante, wala na yung tanong na tama ba yung pagkakabilang. Dati po kasi nakalagay lang vote cast. That's it.
Yeah.
Ito po ngayon, makikita mo yung suma ng boto mo at kung sino-sino ang binoto mo. Ikalawa, nandun pa rin po yung resibo. So meron ka pa rin resibo bukod sa ipinakita na sa'yo, meron ka pang resibo. At ikatlo, sa presinto rin po mismo, pagkatapos ng halalan, isa-isang ipapakita ang lahat ng balota. So yung pong watchers, mga teachers, kung gusto nilang mag-manual na pagbibilang, pwedeng-pwede. Bukod pa po yan, dun sa ating mga audit logs na kasama ng itatransmit ngayon. Dati po kasi resulta lang Ngayon pati audit logs ay itatransmit na. So kitang-kita po natin. And take note po, by the time na mag-transmit po ang makina sa bawat presinto, nakapag-imprenta na po na siyam na election returns. So yung watchers, yung teachers, nakapaskil na sa labas ng presinto, pwede nyo i-check kung tama yung na-transmit. Saan po ba itatransmit? May sariling server na po ang dominant majority party, minority party, PPCRB, NAMFREL, kayo po sa media may sarili kayong server. At si COMELEC po, ang server namin naka-mirror kay DICT. So meron po kayong 7 pagtsatsakan. At may isa pa, there's more. Yung ating pong resulta ay automatic na makikita doon sa election results website. So yung may hawak na printed na papel at yung walang hawak, pwede nyo i-check sa server, tignan sa website kung parehong-pareho ang na-transmit. So siguro po dito, wala nang kaduda-duda talaga yung na-itatransmit na resulta.
I'd like to touch up lang that on Spokes. So you said, di ba, pag pinasok ko po ang akin boto, yung election, yung mga piniling candidates sa machine, sabi niyo po, makikita ko kaagad lahat ng binoto ko. Tama po ba yun? Para expectation lang sa mga boto. Tama po yun, no?
Tama po, kasi may 14 inches screen. Pagpasok po nyo at binasa, lalabas po, overvote, undervote, at kung may mga tama po, yung mga pangalan ng binoto ninyo.
Since real time po ang makikita yung sino binoto ko, let's say lang, for the sake of argument lang po, nagkaroon po ng discrepancy sa binoto ko at lumabas sa machine, ano po ang next step na pwede kong gawin as a voter?
agad-agad po i-report po ito doon sa ating electoral boards nang ito ay ma-note sa minutes. At ang mangyayari po dito, lahat po yan ay pwedeng escalate sa amin, dito sa ating main office, nang sa gayon, ma-check po natin saan naging problema. Kaya nga po sa pagkakataong ito, siguro po kunin ko na rin yung chance na pag tayo po ay nag-shade ng bilog, wag po yung ambiguous mark, wag check, wag period, wag line, wag heart, bilog, i-shape po natin ang buo nang sa gayon po walang kaduda-duda ang pagbasa ng makina. And by the way po, yung real-time na matatanggap na resulta ay hindi po yung individual votes, ito po yung election return. So pagkatapos po ng halalan, 7 p.m., mag-print ng 9 na election return, transmit ng election return, print po muli nung natitira pang 21 dahil 30 po yung imprenta natin. At yun po, makikita nyo na po sa website ang kada resulta, kada presinto.
Ayun. Idagdag ko lang din po dun sa kaninang nabanggit niyo po, no, bukod po dun sa proper way of shading ating mga pagboto sa mga kandidato natin. Ano pa po yung mga dapat ingatan ng mga voters para hindi po sila ma-disenfranchise, no, sa kanilang mga pagboto?
Nako, salamat Ma'am Angela. Yan nga po yung gusto ko yung punto. Una po, ang ating balota, makikita nyo po sa paligid, mayroong mga block na parang rectangles and square. Ito po yung tinatawag nating timing marks. Ito ang guide ng pagbasa ng makina. Huwag na huwag pong bubutasin, pupunitin, susulatan, mamarkahan ng kahit ano pa dahil maari na pong i-reject ng makina ang inyong balota pag ito'y namarkahan. At pag in-reject po ito, hindi na namin kayo i-issue ng bagong balota dahil pag i-imprenta ng balota, 1:1. Eksakto lang po yan kada botante. So wala tayong sobra. Isa pa, ang ating pong balota ay merong mga secret po na security marks. Huwag po kayong magdodrawing ng kung ano-ano. Doon lang po tayo talaga sa bilog mag-shade. Bakit? Pag yan pong mga secret na marks na yan na binabasa ng makina, inaguhitan ninyo, yan po ay hindi rin babasahin ng makina. Kaya nga po mababaliwala ang boto nyo, hindi namin kayo i-issuehan ng panibagong balota. At ito po mas mabigat. Yan pong pagsusulat, pagpunit, pagbutas ng balota, yan po ay isang election offense. That is intentional tearing, defacing, or marking the ballots. At ang election offense po ay kasong kriminal. Pag kayo po ay napakonvict namin sa election offense, ang parusa, 1 hanggang 6 na taon ng pagkakakulong, pagkakatanggal ng karapatang bumoto at perpetual disqualification to hold public office. Ganyan po pinapahalagahan ng ating batas ang bawat balota.
Alright. Taking this opportunity na rin po, spokes, to ask you regarding the voters registration. Kamusta na po tayo dyan? On target naman po ba tayo?
Nag-exceed na po tayo sa target, Ma'am Angela, Sir Angelo. 5.3 million applications na po ang na-process ng COMELEC. Kaya nga po, inaasahan po natin ang pagdagdag ng mga botanteng bago. Bagamat malaki po yung nabawas, kasi ito po yung nakakalungkot. Inaasahan sana namin ito yung karagdagan. Kaya lang may nabawas po na 5.2 million na mga botante natin na na-deactivate. Pag sa batas po kasi natin, Republic Act 8189, 2 beses na halalan o higit pa, hindi ka nakaboto, kailangan kang i-deactivate ng COMELEC. Pero ito na po, meron pa tayong pagkakataon, magpa-reactivate na po kayo. Lalo na yung ang dahilan, bakit hindi nakakaboto, ay lumipat na ng tirahan. Siyempre, hindi na siya nakakaboto. Pagkakataon nyo na po ito, magpa-reactivate na, mag-transfer na. Pagsabay nyo na po, nandun kami sa opisina namin, nandun kami sa mall, at may Register Anywhere program pa po kung saan, kahit saang mampong parte ng Pilipinas, doon kayo magparehistro, kami na po ang bahala magproseso ng datos ninyo doon sa probinsya.
Alright, on that note, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. That was COMELEC spokesperson John Rex Laudianco. Thank you so much.
Mabuhay po.
At least malinaw na sa iba, di ba? Yung mga do's and don'ts and expectations. So, sabi ni Spokes, 4 days, pero give or take, may additional, just in case lang, up to 2 days extra. So, 6 days fully completed na po ang bilangan ng lahat ng positions po sa upcoming elections.
Alright, coming up, the government is considering placing Lebanon under alert level 4. Tumitindi pa rin kasi ang kaguluhan doon. Kamusta naman po kaya ang mga kababayan natin sa Lebanon?
And the Philippines' credit ratings upgraded to A-. But how will this improve the lives of all Filipinos?
We are just getting started, mga kapatid. More of our top 10 news when brunch returns. Keep it here on One News. you're still watching Brunch here on One News. Happy Monday po
Happy
sa
Monday!
lahat.
And let's read out a little of the greetings that were sent via dito sa akin sa Facebook.
ikaw muna.
We have Mina Banyales, good morning daw.
And the
Mina
rest of
Banyales,
our Jesse Mendez
family. And Gary Field, good morning, happy Monday. Ralph Domingo says, yummy pandesal on a Monday.
Actually,
Correct, Spanish
it's
bread, so Spanish
Spanish-
pandesal.
Sardines. Sasabihin ko Spanish sardines.
Pasensya na, Ralph.
Spanish
ha?
bread.
Hindi pa nakakain kasi ito or nakainom ng kape.
Hindi ako minom ng kape.
Precisely the point. Si Migs Ebro naman, hello branchies. New name, Puroy Kapua. Good morning po, happy Monday to all. God bless you all. And some Pokemon Go, good morning sa atin lahat daw.
Ayun. Batiin ko naman yung nandito sa YouTube natin. Si Ronald Maxtay, Oscar N., si Mark Santiago na nagdidiwang ng 24th anniversary ng kanyang asawa. Silang dalawa ng asawa niyang si Mary. So happy 24th anniversary sa
Si,
inyo. Mark and Mary. M2M.
Wala ba si Ronald McGo?
Ronald Maxtay lang.
Nagstay lang siya. Ay,
Nagstay lang siya.
Joke lang yun ha, Ronald.
Tita Naldi and Tita Daisy was also
Oh,
watching.
si Vladimir.
Jerry Young.
Vladimir and all our viewers, good morning. Okay, let's get right to it.
Let's continue our countdown. At the 7th spot, the World Health Organization, or WHO, is urging vaccine manufacturers to step up production of Mpox vaccines as the current supply isn't enough to meet the growing need. The outbreak, which WHO has declared a public health emergency of international concern, is impacting communities in the Democratic Republic of Congo and neighboring areas. WHO is also asking countries with extra vaccines to donate them to places struggling with active outbreaks, where people are working hard to stop the spread. Right now, there are 500,000 doses of MVABN available, with the ability to produce another 2.4 million doses. But more help is needed to protect vulnerable populations. Yun.
Daming mga conspiracy theorists eh.
Ano?
Ayun na yung may sakit, may taal.
Oy, wag naman yung pattern na ngayon.
No, basta at the end of the day, we're extra careful.
Yes.
Number two, no need to panic because yung Mpox, may vaccine.
May vaccine.
It's just a matter of deploying the right amount. But may technology already. It's just, yung panahon kasi ng COVID, walang vaccine when we started out eh.
And we didn't know how to handle it.
Oo.
So,
But this one we know kasi, number one, outrightly makikita mo yung physical signs eh.
Exactly.
Mga-
And yung health protocols that we've been practicing na
Same
others
lang.
have already abandoned it nung during the pandemic. Ngayon, pwede mo i-apply yun.
Kaya
sa
natutuwa
ngayon
ako sa mga TNVS natin na we use them over the weekend. Nakamask
Nakamask pa rin.
Nakamask sila.
So, ang nagiging problem lang daw dito kasi sinasabi nila, last year or late 2022, early
Yeah.
2023, nagkaroon din ng outbreak ng Mpox. Pero isa lang kasi yung mode of transmission. Ngayon kasi nagiging dalawa. Na una, I was reading about it, yung Clade 1 strain rather, no, ito ay primarily affecting children and is spread through multiple modes of transmission. And then yung pangalawang strain, yung Clade 1B, no, which was first detected in September last year and is spreading rapidly mainly through sexual transmission among adults. So, dalawang klase yung tinitignan nila ngayon. So, kaya sabi nila medyo bumibilis yung pag-transmit. Kaya sinasabi nila mag-ingat and of course asking nga yung mga bansa na merong extra no na vaccine ay mag-donate nga dito sa mga areas na ito.
Alright, let's move on. Switching gears to our top 6, senators are strongly opposing the proposed revival of Isabong, warning that it could be even more damaging than the recently banned Pogos. Senator Joel Villanueva highlighted that Isabong targets Filipinos directly and has been associated with the disappearance of 34 Sabongeros. He called on the government to prioritize the well-being of the people over generating revenue, arguing that the social impact of gambling outweighs any financial gain. Senator Amy Marcos also expressed her opposition, urging a halt to any attempts to revive online cockfighting. Despite PAGCOR's claim that stricter regulations could make Isabong workable, both senators believe that the risks to Filipino families are too significant to ignore.
O, ito
We-
na naman tayo.
We've had wives already and husbands all
Yes.
talking about yung problem pag na-addict yung jowa nila, yung husband or wife nila, to isabong. Talagang it becomes an attachment to isabong, yung nanginginig pag hindi nakakapag-bet. Plus number 2, oo, it generates revenue but hindi mo ma-quantify yung problems that will give not only families but the people running the businesses kasi may mga opposing businesses na yan eh. One owns this territorial area for Isabong, yung isa ang may sakop nito, nag-aaway-away sila, nadadamay yung mga sabongero, yung mga ehente, di ba? May nawawala pa nga
Oh,
tayong
34.
34 na sabongero.
Actually, nitong February this year lang si DOJ Secretary Boying Remulla, sinabi niya, it was safe to say, to presume that all the 34 missing sabongeros were victims of mass murder.
Yeah, kasi wala na sila eh. No trace whatsoever of them or no evidence pointing na any of them survived.
Noong May 2022, si Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, former President Rodrigo Duterte, siya yung nag-ban ng isabong.
Yes,
Dahil nga,
isabong.
di ba nagkaroon ng mga malawakang hearing sa Senate,
Yes,
tapos
oo.
umiiyak pa nga yung pamilya dahil
Correct.
nahanap nila yung mga asawa nila or member of nung kanilang pamilya. Tapos eto na naman tayo. And then there are lobbyists actually na nagsasabi na, pwede naman siyang i-regulate na lang kasi kung hindi mo naman i-regulate, gagawin pa rin naman yan. So parang, di ba, parang anong logic yun? Ibig sabihin mo, kunyari, drug trafficking, i-regulate na lang natin kasi may gagawa at may gagawa pa rin naman.
Parang it's just
yung
like
mga
saying,
krimen, i-regulate na lang natin kasi
let's
kesa
regulate
naman,
all the crimes that are happening because in the end,
Exactly.
it's not a good
Diba?
argument at all.
Ay, nako.
Don't believe in that.
All right, let's continue with our countdown. Ranking 5th in the countdown is Lebanon. Because of the conflict between the Hezbollah and Israeli forces, the government is considering placing Lebanon under crisis alert level 4. The Middle Eastern country is currently under level 3, which allows voluntary repatriation for Filipinos. If Lebanon is placed under level 4, all Filipinos living there are mandated to leave the country. So far, over 700 Filipinos have already requested for repatriation.
We are actually preparing na for in that eventuality kung talagang if it comes to that. Raising alert level 4 is we'll just have to see, we'll have to monitor. Kasi nga po, voluntary repat. Ilan lang po ang nag-avail. How can we force people to to go into these shelters kung ayaw naman nila?
Okay, so actually, the Foreign Affairs Department is closely monitoring the situation in Lebanon. The Philippine Embassy in Lebanon reminded Filipinos there to keep safe amid the ongoing conflict.
Recently, there have been sonic booms. Yung naririnig yung pag-fly ng mga Israeli jets. Talagang sinasadya nila na pag they go low in the city, may sonic boom, nababasag yung mga glasses ng windows.
Yan. So although alert level 3 pa lang tayo, level 4 yung mandatory,
Yeah.
sinasabi na nga ng gobyerno natin, as much as possible, umuwi na lang tayo. Pero yung iba kasi nagdadalawang isip pa sila. 'Di ba? Kasi syempre doon meron silang trabaho, dito wala. Anong gagawin nila dito? Although I have read nung August 1, nag-start na rin pala magpauwi ang government natin ng mga Filipinos from Lebanon, 19 overseas Filipino workers to be exact. And there were 3 minors as well were flown back here in Manila. So ang ginagawa nila dyan, of course, itong Department of Migrant Workers and the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, binigyan nila ng financial assistance and job facilitation services yung itong mga pinauwi dito. And that will be also yung gagawin nila doon sa mga iba pang uuwi. Pero yun nga, yung iba naman nakapag-asawa na sila ng mga Lebanese doon, kaya yung iba ayaw na rin nilang umuwi dito. And mahirap kasi, nagkakagulo doon eh, di ba? So sana wala naman din na, kumbaga, may mangyari doon sa mga iba pang tao na nandoon sa Lebanon. Alright, hopefully we can talk to somebody regarding this para magkaroon tayo ng update doon sa mga na-repatriate natin ng mga kababayan natin from Lebanon. Alright.
Next. Coming in at top 4, the Justice Department says it has no information on the possible issuance of arrest warrants by the ICC. Undersecretary Raul Vasquez says the DOJ and the Supreme Court have not been informed about plans of the International Criminal Court. Retired SC Senior Associate Justice Antonio Carpio earlier claimed receiving information that warrants will be issued next month. Recall that the ICC has named Senator Bato de la Rosa and 4 others as suspects of the bloody drug war during the previous administration. So all information is very consistent about a possible arrest warrant this September.
Pero
Pointing to-
sinabi ng DOJ, wala silang information regarding
Wala.
this.
Of course, they will keep ma'am until may walang official pagpapadala ng notice sa DOJ. We've been consistent in saying we will not assist in the arrest, but neither will we hinder the arrest. So parang I'd like to see what that interpretation means. Kasi we will not resist, meaning hindi natin, we will not assist, meaning hindi natin tutulungan. Pero at the same time, we will not hinder. So I wonder ano yung, kasi ang mag-i-issue ng arrest warrant, I guess, will be Interpol.
Yes.
But how will Interpol?
The ICC will coordinate with
With Interpol.
Interpol. The Interpol will have to coordinate with our local authorities
Kasi ang
to execute the
Kasi
arrest.
what I'm saying kasi ICC, they're mandated to do the mga warrants sa mga utos ng tinatawag ng International Criminal Courts. Ang problem is they need, in effect, they need the local police offices of the country na sa pupuntahan nila. They need the assistance. The problem is the PNP won't assist them pero won't hinder them. What agency will the ICC go to? That could also affect the arrest. Tapos yung isa pang pronouncement ni former President Duterte na hindi siya magpapahuli ng buhay.
Ay, di
Diba?
ba nga nagkaroon nga ng video dito nung nakaraan eh.
Ay, that-
Pinapakita natin na binabadsay niya ICC eh. Which is, a normal Duterte. Yan ang aabangan natin, paano. Kasi yun nga sinasabi nila. Nung una, pupunta dito bandang July, 'di ba? Pero hindi nangyari, nausog. And ngayon, September naman yung sinabi nila. Yan ang aabangan natin.
I'd like to
papaano.
also to see kung ano yung role ng NBI in all of this. Di ba kasi usually NBIs are also used to detain suspects in an investigation. I wanna see kung ano yung role nila kasi PNP will not assist. Can the NBI assist also? Let's wait and see kung ano yung
Basta
mangyari.
tayo, ang sinasabi nga ni Justice Secretary Boying Remulla, although hindi na tayo miyembro ng ICC, we are still member ng Interpol.
Interpol.
And in fact, isa tayo sa mga founding members.
Yes.
Diba?
Kaya nga parang ang point doon ng
So parang yun na nakikita nilang isang avenue na
ang point
pwedeng
ng
maisagawa
DOJ
yung
is,
arrest.
if the Interpol requests, hindi yung ICC. Kasi ang isang option is ICC mag-request diretso sa PNP.
Right.
But if the Interpol directly is the one that does the requesting, how will the government then react or behave?
Yun ang
Yun ang
abangan
abangan
natin.
natin.
Oo. Nako, sige. Oh. Alright,
Don't
sige.
go away because we're not done yet. May dalawa pa tayo. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Brunch here on One News.
Ako siksik tayo sa balita ngayon. Before we proceed, hindi, continue na pala tayo sa ating countdown. Ayun. So before we proceed to our countdown, PHIVOX has observed VOG or volcanic smog from Taal volcano in the past 24 hours. Now, according to the agency, VOG is composed of sulfur dioxide gas and other volcanic gases. Because of this, classes in some areas in Calabarzon and other areas are suspended today. PHIVOX also reported that over 3,300 tons of sulfur dioxide emission was detected at Taal. An upwelling of hot volcanic fluids in the main crater lake was also observed.
Right.
Another news.
Another news. The Philippine Coast Guard hits back at China for filing a diplomatic protest against the Philippines. Here's the report.
China has lodged a diplomatic protest with the Philippine government. This is in connection with the presence of BRP Teresa Magbanwa at Escoda Shoal. In a statement, the Chinese Foreign Ministry says the ship illegally entered the area, which seriously infringes their sovereignty. Beijing is asking the Philippines to stop its, quote, infringement activities and withdraw the vessel at once, its territorial sovereignty and maritime rights. In response, Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson Jay Tariela maintains that Philippine vessels have the right to operate in the area. He explained that Escoda Shoal is located within the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines in accordance with the UNCLOS. Tariela also called on China to stop citing any declaration that they have not honored. He adds that the PCG does not aim to provoke nor escalate tensions, but to protect and safeguard our sovereign rights. BRP Teresa Magbanwa has been stationed at Escoda Shoal since April, following reports of Chinese reclamation activities in the area. The Philippine Navy and PCG use Escoda Shoal as a staging point for resupply missions to the BRP Sierra Madre, which is anchored at Ayungin Shoal, also within the Philippines EEZ.
And this just in, the China Coast Guard claimed that a Philippine vessel deliberately collided with their vessel this morning. The CCG posted a video showing the collision that happened around 3:24 a.m. today. CCG said the Philippine vessel ignored the repeated warnings and collided with a Chinese vessel in an unprofessional and dangerous manner. The Philippine Coast Guard refuted China's claims and insisted it was the CCG that aggressively maneuvered that resulted in collisions. PCG said it's determined to protect our safety and security of our maritime domain.
Sige, mamaya natin pag-usapan yan. Pero balikan muna natin, Diego, yung ating balita tungkol sa Lebanon because we have with us Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Eduardo De Vega o De Vega via Zoom. Good morning.
Good morning
Thanks
po.
for joining us again.
Good morning po.
Alright po, let's get right to it po. Kamusta na po ang ating mga kababayan sa Lebanon? Ilan na po ang nagpa-repatriate?
Well, hindi to bago lang no, na nagre-repatriate tayo.
Right.
Noon ang isa yung sa Israel attacks, retaliatory attacks sa Gaza, we already called on Filipinos sa Lebanon to na umuwi na sila under kasi nag-alert level, hindi tayo alert level 4 no, alert level 3 pa rin yung Lebanon no. So may 356 na nakauwi since then no, unti-unti. Meron ngayong 738 na applicants, inaayos pa yung exit clearance sila. Kung dagdagan mo yan, mga 1,094 yan out of about 11,000 Filipinos in Lebanon. So minority lang. Kasi mahusay naman yung kalagayan nila. Sabi nila, wala namang puputok na bomba sa Lebanon. Kasi habang wala silang nakikitang karakasan, violence sa kalsada, sa paligiran nila, hindi sila alis. Ang good news ang masabi ko, yung border mismo, kung saan may skirmishes, yung Hezbollah, papatama ng missile papuntang Israeli territory, tas nagre-retaliate yung Israeli Defense Force, wala doon Pilipino sa border area. Wala, sabi ng ating ambassador na si Raymond Balatan. May konting Filipino, less than 100, sa certain southern cities of Lebanon. Pero hindi naman yun nasa border. Pero pati ngayon, pinapaalis na sila, sinasabihan sila kung pwedeng punta lang kayo sa Beirut or somewhere safer, no? Ngayon, yung mga Pilipino naman sa Beirut, nandyan yung ating alok ng pamahalaan na bigyan sila ng pamasahe pa uwi para sit this out. Kasi ang ayaw lang natin, lumawak ang gulo, ang conflict, tapos may war zone na sa Lebanon. Nangyari na yan about 15 years ago. Nag-repatriate tayo ng libo-libo mga Pilipino galing Lebanon. Ngayon, yung buong region is quite tense, no? Kaya dahil doon, malakas yung pahayag o advisory ng ating ambassador. Pero ayaw namin, hindi namin ginagawa yan para maging alarmist. Sinasabi lang sa mga kababayan, hindi namin mag-guarantee ang safety nyo pag may gera. May mga bansa na nananawagan na rin sa kanilang mga mamamayan na lumikas na ng Lebanon. Kasama yung China, yung Canada, yung India, Saudi Arabia. May mga airlines na hindi na lumilipad Lebanon. Meron pa, yung iba. Yung mga airlines lumilipad pa rin. So habang may airlines pa, gano'n, at wala pa talagang state of war sa Lebanon, take advantage na at pag nandito naman meron namang reintegration program for returning OFWs ng pamahalaan.
Yeah. Yusek, dun po sa nabanggit yung bilang ng mga Filipino sa Lebanon, kasama mo po ba doon yung mga undocumented?
Opo, kasi lahat yun, lahat inuuwi. No? In fact, kung pwede kong kunin yung statistics mismo ng kapapadala lang ni Ambassador Balatbat. No? We are in touch with him. Kung gusto niyo yung exact number, may 356 na umuwi. Sa 356 na yan, 310 are workers kasama undocumented. 46 mga permanent resident, mga kasal sa Lebanese, ganyan. Tapos ngayon, may sinabi akong 738 applicants. Nung kasama doon sa 738 applicants na gusto mo 327 doon, bale halos lagpas kalate, undocumented workers. So, tinutulungan namin lahat siyempre, mga kababayan yan kay anuman ang status nila sa Lebanon.
Right. Patuloy po kami makikipag-ugnayan sa inyo, Yusek, regarding this. But for the meantime, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. God bless po. That's Yusek Ed De Vega.
Thank you.
All right, let's continue with our countdown. Topping our countdown for today is the upgrade of our country's credit rating. The Philippines has received an A investment grade rating from Japan-based Rating and Investment Information Incorporated, the highest rating the country has achieved so far. This is an upgrade from last year's BB Plus or BBB Plus rating. The upgrade signals the international financial community's increased confidence in the Philippine economy and will provide the country with better access to international credit at lower rates. President Bongbong Marcos emphasized that this reflects strong investor confidence in the nation's economic vitality and is expected to lower borrowing costs. The savings from reduced interest payments can be redirected towards public services such as infrastructure, healthcare facilities, and building classrooms for students. Now to talk more about this, we have RCBC Chief Economist Michael Ricafort via Zoom.
Good morning, Mike. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Diego and Angela, and to all your viewers.
Of course, I'd like to ask you, in layman's terms, what does it really mean when the international community has an increased confidence in the Philippine economy? And of course, the other question is, how does this really directly benefit the people?
Well, this is very important, Diego, in the sense that, that's already the highest credit rating by major credit rating agencies, A-. That's, already the first... actually, for the two Japanese credit rating agencies, R&I and JCRA, that's the highest. That's 3 notches above the minimum investment grade. And those two are the first A credit rating for the country ever. And it means, of course, we're talking about from the point of view of the lenders to the Philippines, the creditors. We have budget deficits, so the country always borrows and they have increased confidence to lend to us at lower interest rates. Of course, because higher credit ratings mean lower risk. So lower interest rates, and it's also, at better terms at that. And from the point of view of global investors, that's also increased confidence to put money into the country. So, the credit rating, that's the holistic picture of that's one of the best assessments for the country in everything, in every aspect, macroeconomics, fiscal policy or fiscal management, debt management, as well as politics, everything that comes along the countries when it comes to managing the country's credit risk. So, it would mean more savings for the country when it borrows. So that's true, actually. That really, there would be more money allocated for basic services.
Yes.
And go ahead, Angela.
Yeah. We would just like to clarify, para mas madali pong maintindihan din po ng ating viewers, ano po ba yung naging factors behind the improvement of our credit rating?
Ayun, true, Angela. Kasi, first, yung growth. We're among the fastest growing economies. So, that's one. No? Importante yan for the credit rating agencies. No? Yung, siguro, importante rin yung yung external accounts, no? Mataas yung GIR natin has gone up, no? So it's di ba, more than 7 months worth of exports. That's the international standard is like 3 to 4 months. So halos doble. Yung malakas yung external position natin, yung gross international reserves, more than 100 billion pesos, no? Nag-sustain na doon, no? And yung ano rin, syempre, of course, yung fiscal management, no? Kahit papano, yung debt to GDP ratio, nasa 60.9%, malapit pa rin sa international threshold na 60%. May mas maganda kung mas mababa doon. Tsaka seryoso pa rin naman yung when it comes to increasing the recurring sources of revenue, tax collections, no? Pati yung disciplined spending, managing the budget deficit, no? So, kaya yun ang major pillars, no? So, economic growth, one of the fastest in the region, strong external position, and yung ano rin, yung sound and sustainable fiscal management and debt management. Those are three important factors. And of course, yung ano dun kaya mataas yung confidence. Kasi kung if the lenders magpapautang sa atin, can sustain both the payment of principal and the interest rates going forward. Kasi the international standard is 60%. Malapit na tayo doon. And maganda yung track record ng bansa natin.
Oo. Siguro at the end of the day, Michael, Diego, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
We would like to know din kung paano mararamdaman ng mga Pilipino itong pag-upgrade sa credit rating natin.
Yun, dadami yung investments na papasok sa bansa, mapa-direct investments or portfolio investments. Kasi yung credit ratings natin mataas.
Yes,
no?
that's right.
Lalo na from the point of view of the Japanese, kasi sila yung biggest source of FDI sa atin. So, mas confident sila mag-invest sa atin, no? Kasi, A-, no? That's 3 notches above the minimum investment grade. Maganda signaling yan. Marami pang mahikayat na mamuhunan dito sa ating bansa. Kasi that reflects a lot of, that's good signaling on their part, no? From the international community, no? At yung mga magpapahiram sa atin, mas marami pang willing. Kasi yung mga global investors, pension funds, retirement funds, yung iba pang mga foreign fund managers, tinitignan kasi nila yan. Kahit yung lalo yung mga retirement fund, pension fund, mahigpit sila dyan eh. Kailangan as yung credit rating ng bansa bago sila mamuhunan dito sa equities market natin, sa bond market natin, at sa iba pang parts ng financial market natin. Ganon din yung mga nagpapahiram sa ating bansa, no? Whether commercial yan, multilateral, or ODA, makita nila na mataas yung credit rating natin, mas lalo sila maingganyo at willing sila na bawasan yung interest rate na binabayad ng Pilipinas.
So parang at the end of the day, there will be more jobs, 'di ba? Creation of jobs tapos development. But we have so much questions to ask pero unfortunately we don't have much time. But for the meantime, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. That was RCBC Chief Economist Michael Ricafort.
Thank you so much and to your viewers, Diego and Angela.
Thank you.
Ganda umaga.
Yun. So
But yung credit rating na sinasabi, ang effect niya, it will be felt more on the long term and the jobs will come later on. Kasi,
Yes, of course.
Kasi this will stimulate the pledges. Kasi madami tayong pledges and very rarely yung more than 60-70% of the pledges translate into actual stimulus dito. Pero ang sinasabi niya parang with this new credit rating, baka yung mga nag-pledge, talagang papasok na. Mas matataas ang percentage na papasok na kaagad. And mas lalo na sa mga bonds, maturities, saka sa mga investments,
gusto ko sanang i-banter pa ngayon yung nangyari sa yung recent collision ng China at saka ng Philippine Coast Guard. But tomorrow na lang yan. Pero nag-file din sila ng diplomatic protest. Saan nila ipa-file yun? So ibig sabihin, they're recognizing the international court. Or
sa agency to agency. So yung foreign affairs nila will file it sa foreign affairs natin. Ganun lang naman ang protest. It's on the record lang naman yan. It doesn't mean na you recognize the criminal court or yung Hague. It's just merely you're complaining sa embassy ng kakapwang government mo.
Nilalagay nila tayo ngayon sa defense mode. Pero sige, bukas na lang tayo mag-usap tungkol dyan. Meron ka pa bang pahabol
I'd like to leave, of course, everyone, since it's a Monday, everyone with a quote. Now, if people are doubting how far you can go so far that you can't hear them anymore.
near, far, ganun ba yan? Wherever you are.
With that, thank you very much for joining us here on Brunch, and that wraps up today's episode of Brunch. Join us again tomorrow. I'm
Okay, sige.
She's Angela Castro. And
Yan,
I'm Angelo
kasi karma
Castro
is digital.
III. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thank you for watching.